Hi again then guys, and welcome to another speed tune, of course, this time for one of the new cars in the 1.34 update, the obvious one to go for first, the Pagani Huayra. Now in the thumbnail I've put it can do around 280, the exact speed is like 279, 280, depending on what part of the track you're on. It kind of goes up and down, but that's the kind of speed that you're looking at. Plus, of course, you can go even faster with slipstream. Now you want to increase the power as far as you can go. I would recommend dropping the weight as well, especially through the corners. Traction control I would also recommend having turned off. That's down to you, of course, if you're less experienced, for example. We've got racing soft tyres. Again, very obvious reason, a ton of grip. As far as the suspension, I'd recommend having the rear as low as possible, the front as high as possible. Then as far as the frequency, we've gone as high as possible for that one. You can technically improve the acceleration a little bit if you drop that, but you'll start to lose stability through the corner and it will start to bounce around. So it depends what you need. There's a very fine line between losing control and improving the car. So anti-roll we've got as low as possible as well, because it naturally has fairly heavy steering, especially with the front end raised. For the compression and the rebound on the dampers, again we've gone as low as possible. We've got 1 degree of camber on the front, none on the back. That keeps it nice and stable through the curve, but also allows you to have maximum tyre contact on the rear wheels on the straights. We've got neutral toe. You can adjust the downforce, of course, on this one. For the diff, I've gone for the lowest initial torque and the lowest braking. And then, as you can see, the highest acceleration. You could adjust that if you want to. Of course, test it out, try it. If you prefer something else, say 60 on braking as well, for instance, then by all means change it. And finally, for the transmission, you want the fully customized option, of course, the highest auto setting you can get. And then for the individual gears, 2150, 1475, 1.1, 850, 700, 600, and 520. And I would recommend a final drive of 3.1. That allows you to cruise at like 279, 280, and you've also got a nice amount of slipstream as well. You should be able to pretty easily get this one over 300 very quickly as well, potentially over 310. I haven't actually tested it yet for draft potential, so of course if you need it to do more, you could either drop 7th gear a little bit, say to 0.510 instead of 520, or a more, not accurate, but a more overarching way of doing it is just to drop the final drive. So you've got options. So that's it as far as the tune. Now though, you want to see, of course, what it can do in action. Now, as you can see, I am using a manual gearbox for this one at the bottom of the screen, and the reason for that is because, as with some of my other tunes that have very long 6th gears and 7th gears, the game doesn't tend to change quick enough. Now, in an actual race, that shouldn't really be a problem, because by this point on the track, you'll be behind someone in the slipstream, so it's not really an issue. Using manual is better, but you don't have to. That's the point I'm making. As far as the speed on its own, you're looking at, as you can see, 277 before you even hit the hill. Up the hill, of course, you'll drop a little bit. As I mentioned earlier, about 279, sometimes bumping up around 280, especially it can hold 280 nicely after slipstream. And as far as the handling goes, you can comfortably hold 270 or more, even without any slipstream through the corner. So the handling is very stable, even though it has a high front end. It's still nice and loose, but not slippery. I cannot attest to what the handling will be like at, say, 300, 310, so you might need to adjust it as necessary, especially as far as camber, for instance. But of course, that's for you to decide with your own personal driving style. So that's it for the tune. Very quick car, one of the fastest new street cars in the game, of course, and click here on screen to see all of my other speed tunes as well. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.